Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I enjoy my momentum iron.
Hello, folks. It's good to be here. I appreciate everybody who reached out to me about my health. I am steadily improving. We'll be back to standing in the corner of wrestling shows before you know it. Okay.
Oh yeah, we lots of people asking about you on
Thank you.
Saturday,
Thank you.
which we'll discuss.
I
We'll
appreciate
discuss
that.
that over on the Georgia Indie Talk Show, obviously a little more. But hey, before we get started, because hey, we had to. We told you last week the mailbag was starting to fill up, and even this week there was even some more that's coming in. So we got to stay on that. Yeah. But before we get started, we always want to remind you, obviously, please make sure you're heading over to youtube.com. I love that /C/Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, or you just go to YouTube and search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, find the channel, and we always ask you to do a couple things, right, Myron? What do we ask you to do,
Yes,
Myron?
sir. Subscribe. Click that bell so you get the updates and get the extra content by joining us there.
That's right. Become a member. Like I said, join, turn your notifications on with that little bell, and then, of course, become a member if you want to get the show early and the other stuff that I throw on there. Look, we've kind of moved on, right, to this. So YouTube's our home now. So obviously, if you want to be a member, just kind of keep going, get all that stuff early. All of that is right there in one place for you, trying to make it an easy fan for everybody.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Tip off to the OGs. They know what I mean when I say that. Those guys, we love you guys. We'll always be there for you too.
Yes.
But man, hey, without further ado, lots of stuff going on this week, man. It was all over the place because you got to remember, guys, we recorded prior to we always record prior to Dynamite. That's the hard thing.
Yes.
So we're almost kind of always a full, week behind when it comes to Dynamite. So we're covering stuff and we try to keep, everything that's all the moving parts. I know there's stuff that we're going to talk about in that question later, but look, so much going on between pay-per-views and major announcements, this, that, and the other. So let's just dive right into it, Myron. And go straight into the questions, man.
Our friend Austin from Grover Beach, California, asked the question everybody has been asking: should Cody have wrestled at Hell in a Cell?
So
purple.
So a friend of the show messaged me, and we were kind of going back and forth. And they're like, "Hey, it's WWE's a $1 billion company. It's a liability. They shouldn't have let him wrestle. It shouldn't have been on Cody's, because I know he's come out and said it was my decision. Post match, it was 100% his decision whether he wrestled. So I do want to give a little bit of a backstory here as to why, I never had a problem with it. And it's. I know a doctor has come out and released a video and things like this, but it was funny. So when I saw it, it was funny. Even of all people, my wife saw it, and she didn't have a problem with it from jump because she got it. Because here's why. So my daughters were really into wrestling, high school wrestling. They were managers for the team, etc. And there's a kid on the wrestling team who tore a labrum, and then we had one with a jacked up pec, kind of like coat, whatever. And so I kind of knew going into it when they said, "Hey, the pec's torn from the bone." I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to get any worse. I remember this kid wrestling like that because the doctors told him, look, it's already jacked up. You can't make it any worse. It's going to hurt like hell, but if you can get through it, it's like I said, it's going to hurt really bad, but it's not going to get any worse. So then it literally, so somebody was like, well, why would they put that on Cody? I don't know, because how about he's the sumbitch hurting? Yeah. It's his call. Can he get through it or not?
Yeah, definitely. And much like the Grinch's heart and the Grinch that stole Christmas, my admiration for Cody grew 10 sizes that day. My respect for Seth Rollins' performance. I have never been a Seth Rollins fan. I appreciate Seth Rollins now. The psychology in that match that he used and worked was beautiful. But Cody, as an old man, I can see not doing it. 20 years ago, I would have been, hell yeah, I'm doing that. But as I've aged and my health has given me issues, I can see the negatives to doing it. But he did it. We can't argue about it anymore. He did it. He was purple as hell. Probably the ballsiest move in wrestling in forever. And the thing is, they elevated the stage so high because the injury was the big talk. And so they set this matchup where it was on a pedestal already, and they had to perform, and it was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we heard tale of they cut some things out of the match, that were a little risky. And somebody was like, "Oh, he's endangering Seth," and I'm like, "Did he really?" Because he never really picked Seth. You notice that? Like, there wasn't a lot of
Yeah,
move where it was like he could have hurt him by like dropping him and kind of thing. Like they wrestled
yeah,
more of an old school wrestling match.
yes,
Um, Told a good story, and like I said, it did. Look, I'm not saying tear your pec to advance the storyline, but I mean it did a hell of a job for that match because it put a lot of the risk of like, hey, he's injured, can he do this, and what he had to overcome. Now, there's a debate. It would have been an easy route to say, okay, then this is the excuse why Seth beats him, right? Like if Seth
hmm
wins, everybody, Cody's excuse is, well, he had a torn pec, so so we're not debating whether Seth should have won, or whatever. Because let's be blunt with you, the next night, that's essentially what Raw was for, was to Seth to get all of his heat back.
yes,
So
yes.
that whole angle is built up for that. And to come out, by the way, I get chill bumps when I say the dude's name, right? Dusty, right? For Seth to come out there, and then how intricate of a detail was it when Seth says to Cody, I know I'm the last one you want to hear this from, but but Dusty would be proud of you. The irony of that is, in my brain, I think, no, you're exactly the one who should say it because you were one of Dusty's NXT kids.
Yeah.
Like has he done more than anybody as far as Dusty's kids coming out of NXT? Like I don't know what Roman's level of being, Dusty's kids or what down there. He probably all that, but you always hear Seth was one of Dusty's kids coming out of NXT. He's exactly the one who should be saying that to Cody.
I that was a masterpiece level match. It was harder to put on that match because of the injury, and they not only succeeded, they super succeeded with that because I wasn't really feeling it, honestly. But what I saw last night was a classic. Well, I did not get to watch it until last night, the match itself, because all the stuff going on, graduation parties, my family, my health, and everything going on. I sat down and watched it last night, and I was enthralled. I had emotions. I got involved in this match. I felt feelings in this match, and I guarantee that wouldn't have happened without the injury. Just raising the level so much, and it was intense. And wow, it was great.
Yeah. And now let's talk about like post, because then there's a follow up to that is, now they're saying he's potentially going to have surgery 6 to 9 months. Although in his promo it was kind of odd that he teased if there's a remote possibility he can be back by Money in the Bank and win. I was kind of like, okay, that's just weird. Now this isn't in the notes, Myron. I'm really about to freestyle.
Okay.
Hear me out. What if somehow they could hold off surgery? Because I have two scenarios about Cody's return. Look, the obvious easy one is, look, just go have the surgery, come back at the Rumble, like win the Rumble, and you're right back to where you probably were going to be. Because look, do we both agree? Everybody had the vibe that Cody's going to win Money in the Bank, right?
Well, yeah, it was set up for it.
It just felt that
It's
way.
a natural progression of where they were going.
Yeah, I mean, so I think absolutely he was going to win. And that could be wrong, but that's what I felt.
Yeah.
So, I think the easy answer is, hey, just have him go away, have him come back at the Rumble, win the Rumble, and then boom, he's on his road to WrestleMania. Now that's if he's back by then. That's a whole other
I
topic.
think that's the more logical setting. It's to set it for
Two,
the Rumble.
hear me out. This is a weird one, and I get it. I don't know how you get there, but if you could tell me, because Money in the Bank isn't far off.
No,
It's only
they
like
were
a
actually
couple of
advertising
weeks.
it.
Yeah, no, it's only a
Yeah.
couple of weeks. It's like not a month later, like most of them. Hypothetically, let's say, Cody, can you wait till the night or the day after Money in the Bank to get that surgery and do this one more. Not like, because here's the thing: there's lots of smoke and mirrors in the Money in the Bank, right? But you get around dancing, and him having this match. Here's the only reason why. By the way, the only reason I've even is it going to happen? No. Do I think it should happen? No. Is it the smartest thing to do? No. But this is wrestling. So Cody wins Money in the Bank somehow. All he's got to do is climb the ladder and get the briefcase. That's it. By hook or by crook, right? He somehow, and I'm not saying he's going to cheat. Because then, post-surgery, you can have him on TV teasing for 6 months. Because all he's got to do is walk out with the briefcase. Walk out with the briefcase. Walk out with the briefcase. Yeah.
Hold his arm and be like,
think about, because if
and then walk back.
If Roman's in a vulnerable position where it looks like, or he just had a grueling match, and Cody's music hits, and he comes out, and he's kind of like teasing I could go down and, it would be fun. I don't think it's likely, and I think it's a far-fetched idea. So don't, by the way, this is not one of those message me and tell me how dumb an idea it is. I understand it when I said it. But it could be entertaining.
Well, who's the most likely person to win Money in the Bank now? If not Cody.
Seth? Drew?
I mean, it's
Riddle?
But you gotta realize you're gonna take it off Roman if the Money in the Bank guy wins, and then flip it back.
Oh no. Sorry. This is my whole take, because I was under the impression that Cody was gonna win. Cody made a statement a while back about winning Money in the Bank to be able to challenge in the main event for WrestleMania. That slip of the tongue made me believe he was going to win Money in the Bank, hold it all the way. He was going to declare that day, you ain't got to worry about me cashing in on you and surprise it. I'm going to tell you when it's going to be. I'm going to main event WrestleMania, and I'm going to use this cash in for that night alone. Which puts a super odd twist on the Rumble if that were to happen. Like, what do you do with the Rumble? Because now are you fighting for a triple threat shot at the title?
Well, right now there are 2 belts technically. Is he still carrying the 2 belts?
Yeah, Roman's still both champion. So I mean, or did they?
But is he actually? He hasn't
He physically has 2 belts, right? Yeah.
He hasn't melted them together.
No.
And made one belt.
You could make the case, yes, that Cody could say, "I want the WWE Championship," and the good Rumble winner goes, "I want the Universal Championship." So poor Roman has to wrestle twice. And which, it wouldn't be terrible. By the way, I mean, I know we think Rock's going to be there. So here's the thing. Night 1, he has to wrestle Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Maybe this was the original plan. Look, guys, I get it. I'm down a rabbit hole that I should have came out of 5 minutes.
Booking Nick is killing it.
If Cody had won the Money in the Bank, he says, "I'm challenging Roman or whoever's the champion at WrestleMania." Rock returns. He wins the Rumble, which is how we all think it should go, right? Because that's when he's going to have the free time.
Yes.
Night 1, Cody wrestles Roman for the WWE Championship because that's the belt that eluded his father. That's the one he wants.
Oh,
Night 2, Rock wrestles Roman. Roman has to main event both nights of WrestleMania because he has to wrestle Cody one night and Rock the next night, or vice versa. I'm telling you, obviously, I think the Sunday night, whoever. Actually,
my
I probably
phone's
would
ringing.
flip that.
It's a Connecticut number.
Huh?
I said my phone is ringing. It's a Connecticut number. Okay, they're wanting to know how you got this shit.
It's wrestling, man. Just make the shit up. It's fun. But anyway, let's move on, because that was a rabbit hole that I just kind of, I don't know how I even went down it, because we all thought. But anyway, but goes back to our original point. I had no qualms with Cody wrestling at Hell in a Cell, and I understand. Trust me, I'm Mr. Liability, and from a business standpoint and all that stuff. I just don't think that it was going to get any worse, and I think the doctor said that.
I would have done it.
If you don't have a problem with Ric Flair wrestling, you shouldn't have had a problem with Cody Rhodes wrestling. So there's that part.
Ow.
So that's just my take on that piece. So anyway, let's keep it moving, man, because there's also, we think there's some ramifications for Cody being injured and going to be gone. That leads us into our next question.
Brendan from Oxford, Pennsylvania has asked us, why do you think Edge was booted from Judgment Day?
So when we got the question, here's the funny thing. Things have changed since the notes were made for the show because more stuff has come out. Obviously, the initial thing was, well, it's because Cody was injured. They needed a new babyface, so you move him over because internally, the memos are saying that he's now a babyface, which my argument is, can he be? I mean, after all the shit he's done over the last few months, can anybody actually embrace him just because they booted him out of, the Judgment Day? I don't know that you can.
Is it a work, though?
Part 2 was, I originally, when the notes were done, I was like, is it time for him to just take his annual hiatus that he goes on where I wrestled so much for this year, I'm a part-timer, so now I'm going to go away for a little while. Not knocking that, by the way. Kudos.
You don't want to work too much and ruin your Social Security benefits.
I mean, my take is I thought maybe that was it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now things have come out, and supposedly, theoretically, and the rumors and innuendo says,
oh God,
that they're wanting to go down a supernatural route with a Judgment Day, and Edge didn't want to go down that route, so just pull him out of it and put Finn in their place. Which, if we'll get into that in a second about the demon and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Damian Priest, etc., etc.
Who is killing it right now?
Yeah,
Damian Priest is at the top of his game.
So pros and cons, though, I do want to address this a little bit with you, Myron. I mean, because Finn's not as good a promo. No offense to Finn. I mean, he's not as good a promo as Edge.
Well, Edge's a Hall of Famer.
In the promo department now, with those three in the group, I'm like, okay, well, who's gonna lead the promos? Because they're all okay. I mean, they're good. They're not bad, but none of them are Edge when it comes to cutting a promo. So that was a concern of mine. The second part of it is, you're going the supernatural route. Are we talking about the demon being involved? Because I see the demon as a babyface character, which is messed up, I know. But that's what I always see it as. I don't see it as a heel character.
Well, it's always been out as a babyface, and they've always used it.
Yeah.
When he comes out, he's a babyface. When he's the demon.
Right. So that's confusing a little bit, I guess, in my take. The only, but then there's really no more members to add unless add a key, and look, I don't love it, because it goes both ways. Everybody went bananas saying that Bray Wyatt was going to return because of Bray's tweet, with the whole, sooner than later. Everybody was doing did you see the whole 6/6/2022 thing?
Yes.
Everybody was like, oh, that means it's the 6th, it's June 6th, when the Monday Raw. Okay, he got you. He worked you.
But you're paying attention to him and talking about him, and that's all that's important.
Correct. Now, if he came back and was the leader, there's pros and cons. The pro is immediate credibility back to that stable, right? With it's him as the leader and them following him, and it would explain why you booted Edge, because there's a new leader, there's a new cult leader in this group, and especially if you're going the supernatural route, it makes sense. Correct?
It could be. He could come back as the nemesis for this team.
That is true too. Could be. The argument, though, however, is if Bray Wyatt returns, fans are just going to cheer him, and he's going to be a babyface. So that kind of, if you're thinking Judgment Day is going to be your heel group, putting Bray with them is not going to. I mean, they're gonna swing full babyface.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. That's the only thing, I just personally think if Bray returns, he should stand alone, as a single individual character, because he's always had the family and the Wyatt family. Just let him be him for a while.
Yeah, I don't do the Fiend. Don't bring him back as the Fiend. That should never be done again. That's just my take on it. I have
qualms with him doing it. I just meant that he should be standing alone.
Yeah.
But that's, things got, because I think he's strong enough on his own. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is I don't think he needs even to have that cult fight. But if you're going supernatural route, you could put the Fiend leading Judgment Day, but they're going to have to do something super evil to make fans hate them. They're going to have to attack somebody.
Yeah.
Do something it would have to be Edge, AJ, whomever. I don't know who it is. That's the problem with the product right now, in my opinion. I don't know that there's anybody there that is so beloved that if you attack them, that the fans would immediately hate you. Because the fans loved Cody, And in Chicago, they were chanting "Thank you, Seth" as he was getting tables and stuff
Yes.
to put a beating.
Yes.
So that's a twist or whatever. But
But
yeah.
how have you been getting stronger, Nick?
Well, let's check it out. Look, we're all trying to get healthier, and as we all are, there's lots of ways to do it. And of course, the biggest change is our friends over at Athletic Greens, easy for me to say, have made a big impact. And if you don't believe me, take a listen. Our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted more energy, and I wanted to see what was all the hype about. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, even aging. I personally use it because when I started this keto fasting diet I'm on, I was worried about the energy I was going to have. Not now. It supports better sleep quality, recovery, mental clarity, even alertness. By the way, it's cheaper than getting all the different supplements that's in this thing. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews and even recommended by professional athletes. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient and daily nutrition. It's one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements that you're looking to look out for your health. So to make it easy for you, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit their website at athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/emerging to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. That's right, man. Make sure you're heading over to the website. Like I said, you see across the crawl there on the top, Athletic Greens. Make sure you're checking them out. Like I said, man, it's an easy way to get all your nutrients, all your minerals, vitamins, all that good stuff in one scoop, man, just to make it easier. Stop buying all of those supplements and all that stuff.
Expensive to buy all the supplements.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass to organize them all.
Yep.
Just get it in one place. Folks.
Absolutely. athleticgreens.com/emerging. Well, thinking of things changing and thinking of all that good stuff, man, let's dive right into our next questions.
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is the one you're going to have to help me with, Nick, because I've been so out of the loop lately. Our friend Trace from Sturgis, Kentucky, has asked, do you think AEW should have stripped CM Punk of the title? Whoa. I know touches about this stuff. I said I've been so busy lately, I have not been able to keep up with AEW. What is going on, Nick?
Okay,
Punk's hurt, right?
To answer the question first, Trace, thanks for the question. Do you think he should be stripped? Okay, it kind of depends. I went on a total rant, which I'm going to promise myself I'm going to try not to, but I can't say that I'm going to hold that promise. It kind of depends on so if he's going to be gone 30, 60 days or more, maybe, right? You probably could have stripped him. Now, the only argument against it is they've done interim titles before. It's kind of a UFC move. Mm-hmm. They did it with the TNT belt a while back. Remember anyway. So there's precedent there, so I'm not really opposed to it. Like saying, hey, we're gonna have an interim champion. My take would be hey, if you knew he was gonna be gone, let's say 6 months, just strip the belt and go with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If it's gonna be hey, we're not real sure, it's 30 to 90 days, it's gonna depend on it. I full sport it. I'm okay with that.
They've got so many belts, though, Nick. Do they need that belt every day? 30 to 60 days? Just hold him off the air. Just let him get better.
No, see, that's the other thing is I really believe, man, that I honestly, you have to have your world title, at least be visible on TV. So I don't, The problem is like not knowing how long it's going to be, he's going to be out, and not knowing exact detail, all that kind of stuff vagues it out a little bit, and that's the problem. So my take would be like, hey, if we're not really sure how long he's going to be gone, I would just wait. Keep him out of matches. You can still do promos. You can still do things like that.
Have him sit at the booth.
Be commentary, 100%. You know, now, like I said, if you already knew it's 4, 6, 9 months, 100%. Like, I get it, totally. But, so, should he be stripped? I don't know. I think it's a little more complicated than that. Without all the information, it's kind of hard to answer that. Precedent being, of course, they've done it before, so whatever. You're just following suit. You've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
My total complaints, like, I don't have any problems with how that stuff part was handled. That's whatever. There's so many moving parts. Like, the parts I didn't like was 2 parts. One, the convoluted way that they were like, they're going to crown the interim champion. I thought, I say it like this. They kind of even felt like they contradicted themselves a little bit during like the announcements of how it was going to work. 2, it was so overcomplicated that they had to put it out in writing, like what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Tony Khan was on social media explaining it.
So I'm going to need some of Tony Khan's Adderall to be able to read this out and figure it out.
My arguments are easy. With pro wrestling, if how something works is so complicated that you had to put it out in writing and you had to explain it that many times, it's too complicated.
Preach, brother.
It should be simple. And I get it. People are going to be like, oh, it is simple. You're stupid. No, because here's my argument as to why I completely had a problem with it. One, like the setup itself, I was like, sure, okay, whatever. Now I'm gonna go with you one further, and I'm gonna accept like this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna give, you know, they're gonna be a battle royal, and then this person gets a shot, and they're gonna get a shot at the belt versus this guy, blah blah blah, all that. Okay, whatever. But then I start digging a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, how does Jon Moxley get the auto pass? Like, how is he the one who gets the winner of the battle royal? You see what I mean? I'm like, how does he even get into
this? Is where the rankings are concerned.
This is what bugged me, because I'm such a numbers guy. It literally, you knew that something like this would be the thing that I had to crawl with. By the way, no problem with doing the tournament. No problem. What if you're going to do a tournament to crown a battle royal to crown? Didn't care. But to give a guy a free pass and say, oh, he's earned the shot to be, why? Why was it not Paige, who just got beat on Sunday? Does that make sense? Like, why the Sunday prior, he lost the belt. Why was he not because he was your last champion? I get they're like, well, there's no rematch clauses, blah, blah. Okay, fine. But give him the spot that's guaranteed to at least be in the match. Because, whatever. But the problem that really irked me is we talk about how the rankings matter, and we talk about how, you know, wins and losses matter, et cetera, et cetera. Every week they put out a ranking, right? Every week they crank them out. Like, this is your ranking, this is your rankings. Not the week of the first and the third. Not that week. You know what they did? They released the rankings twice that week. They released them on Wednesday before Dynamite, and then they released another set on Friday, which was completely odd that they did twice in a week. Do you know why they released twice in a week?
Why is that?
You had to control the narrative. On Wednesday, I made sure I wrote this down. Punk was your champion. Number 1 was Wardlow. Number 2 was Adam Cole. 3 was Hangman Page. 4 was Jon Moxley. And 5 was Jay Lethal. When you released it before Rampage, the new ranking said CM Punk's your champion. Moxley's number 1. Wardlow's number 2. Page is number 3. Cole's 4. Lethal's 5. Why does that bug me?
He skipped all those places.
Moxley
what did he do to deserve that?
First. Cole fell from 2nd to 4th. And then Wardlow fell from 1st to 2nd, and Page stayed in 3rd. What did Jon Moxley do on Wednesday that justified him jumping from 4th to place to 1st? He beat Daniel Garcia on Dynamite. If you're telling me that a victory over Daniel... And listen, here's the problem. I don't have any qualms with Jon Moxley being in the spot. don't tell me it's because of the rankings, because you know what this is, Myron? This is
Yeah,
going
what is
to
it?
chap the ass of a lot of AEW fans. This is a WWE move.
Oh shit, Nick.
They literally changed. By the way, I would crap on it. You know why? You know why I like the WWE system? They don't give a shit and just tell you, like, this is the guy who's going to walk out here, challenge for the belt, and Roman's going to accept it or so forth. There ain't a 1, there ain't a 2, there ain't a...
Well, this is the problem with sport, trying to be sports based and act
Yeah,
like you're a legitimate fighting company.
yeah.
Just put on your boots and go out there and sports entertain.
You know what you could have told me and I would have accepted even better? Because I saw this on
Okay.
Twitter and it blew my mind.
Mm.
Jon Moxley, his last 8 matches on television or pay-per-view have all received more than 4 stars from Dave Meltzer.
Okay.
Awesome. Just tell me for whatever reason you think he earns a spot. Just tell me why he's there. You literally changed it 2 days later where somebody that looked at it goes, this doesn't make any sense. This is as WWE as it gets.
So you're just asking for a reach around.
Don't even use it.
Just a vague explanation about why they did it. Just some bullshit,
Yeah.
some kayfabe to make it work. Make it plausible.
You can't get there, but that's okay. And here's the problem. Here's the crazy part. You didn't have to. You were better off not to change these rankings like this, because then for me to sit there and look at it and go, a Daniel Garcia victory catapulted you. So you're telling me that Adam Cole fell from 2nd to 4th. Why? What did he do, that to justify falling? What did Wardlow deserve? I mean, he just decimated MJF at the pay-per-view. And so what did he do to lose from Wednesday to Friday? He fell from 1st to 2nd. Why? What did Moxley beating Daniel Garcia? Was it such a good match? Or, a hard... Why? That's the only part in this whole thing that I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the system they did, either the setup, the way they're going to do it, none of that. I don't even care that they have an interim champion because they've done it before. So kudos, you're sticking to that. I just think Moxley getting the pass, which, by the way, not even saying he doesn't deserve it.
No.
But don't tell me it's because of the rankings and then this being the case.
The old piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
Correct. So at this point, my whole take on it was trash the rankings because they clearly don't matter.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Whatever, but it doesn't matter. So
speaking of things that have mattered on AEW, there was a fellow, that guy, and our friend Bruce in Bristol, Connecticut. Hey, Bruce. What did you guys think of MJF's pipe bomb, and what does it mean for all the rumors? Well, what I'm going to tell you first is WWE's precedence with Naomi and Sasha, as far as taking the stuff off the website, taking their merch down when the shit was real, AEW is working it perfectly. Okay? I think the whole thing's a work, but I think it's beautiful. It's like the immaculate conception of works, in my opinion. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think clearly at this point, it's not. It's clearly a storyline at this point that it's. Look, I tell people all the time, like, look, do I think there's probably some reality based in there? Of course, right? Because it's been there, but Tony Khan did not let MJF go down to that ring with a microphone and talk for 9 minutes
before
the mic cut off, and it not be
national
part of the
television.
storyline.
And it was a beautiful speech. It was very well done. So that to me means there is probably some real to it. MJF is probably pissed off. He's making mid-card money at best. And yet going out there and being what they talk about. Drawing all the eyes that have been on the program lately have been drawn by MJF. But yet he's not getting paid for it.
I'll come back to that. Maybe. Everybody loved the promo. Because here's the funny thing: is like, oh my God, everybody compared it to the pipe bomb, CM Punk, blah blah. There is a lot of comparisons. You know why? Because they were both storyline. Everybody likes to treat the CM Punk pipe bomb like it was like he walked out on WWE, sat down on that stage or that ramp, and cut this great promo, and it was all like him shooting on everything. I'm like, same thing. Vince McMahon would have cut his mic off if it wasn't part of the storyline. 2.
Oh yeah.
The only qualms I have, as a guy who drops an F-bomb on the show every time, and that's it's kind of hard for me to say things like, what do I always say about promos? Sometimes I think the easy, cheap way to get reaction is to use language in a promo. Because the teenagers think it's edgy and cool, and I guess at my age now, I don't think the language part makes it edgy, makes it cool. Like, it doesn't do, like, I get, like, oh, you're angry. You can say things angrily without using language. So sometimes, if you go overboard with language, I think it can take away from it. Take that as for what it is. I think it was probably a little too much. One every now and then, I just think, like I said, to go overboard, like, oh, he was really mad, though. Okay, well, that's fine. I understand. I'm not saying it was bad. Trust me, it was very good. It was standout promo of the week. Actually, standout promo for a while. I'll even give you that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one like that good in a long time. Which goes back to, like you said, because he was probably so passionate, because there was truth. He was digging into a place that was really true, that the emotion was easy to get to. Now, to come back to something you said a second ago, if we're here, there's a part of me that believes he has been taken care of now. Like, I don't know that we get him out there working this angle and this stuff if he has
if he wasn't getting taken care of, I think he would have walked out. I think it would have been a legitimate walkout.
Sure.
There's precedent for it.
Now kudos for them and Warner Media and all of those guys for they're going all in on this thing, no pun intended.
Oh yeah.
Taking him off promotional stuff, taking him off the AEW roster on their website, pulling his merchandise from all that. Okay, that is gold, and I'll give you if you're in, you're in, and they're going all in on it. The complaint that I have on it is doesn't this make them look like the bad guys? Because the fans were cheering MJF by the end of that promo. And so, you saw the clip on Twitter and social media when Tony Khan came out on, I think it was Rampage or whatever. They were chanting MJF.
Tony McMahon,
maybe.
Maybe he's turning.
But see, I just don't know if that works. I don't know that scenario fits. Because here's the problem. AEW can't look like the heel. They're the babyface company, right? So it's a slippery slope, and we'll see. The only other thing that as far as what I thought would be fun, was MJF enters this battle royal they're doing, wins, beats Moxley, and he wins the interim championship, setting up for the return of CM Punk. While the whole run of this time, MJF is saying he's the real world champion.
Oh.
Austin,
I like that.
Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, man.
Remember that? Like, I'm the real Intercontinental. They had to have a ladder match with both titles on the line, blah, 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 that kind of thing. The problem I have is at the end of the day, now, if you're going to make MJF the babyface, you're doing a good job of it. If you want him to be the heel, be careful because it's going the other way on you.
Yeah.
So, but kudos to AEW, by the way, but they're committed. If this is a storyline, they're committed. Like I said, with the merchandise and the roster and all that, kudos to them. I think they're doing a really good job at that part.
So, are you betting on Tony or are you betting on MJF on this one?
I always put my money on MJF. So, and if you like putting money on stuff, make sure you check out our friends over at Prize Picks.
You still working on this?
It's 2 minutes to kickoff. Who do I pick?
2 words, Prize Picks. It's so easy. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. It's just you against the numbers. Simply pick the over-under on 2 or more players, and that's it. You can win up to 10 times your money in just one day. Join over 150,000 people who found a better way to play. Download the Prize Picks app today and get your first deposit match up to $100.
That's right, man. Make sure you're supporting the show, and if you love these little bit of betting going on, prop picks, I like it because again, you're not betting against other people like in the DFS, the DraftKings kind of stuff, but you're actually doing props. If you pick them and you're right, you win. It's that simple. And make sure look. Promo code is in the show notes, and make sure you're doing that because that helps us out, of course, when you do all that good stuff. Well, we greatly appreciate all the support, no matter how you do it, whether it be Athletic Greens, Prize Picks, or buying shirts, all that good stuff. We thank you for your continued support. But Do you know who's
Yes.
losing a little bit of support, Myron?
Ooh, this is a crazy one. Bennett from Spring, Texas asks, "Do you think the New Day is struggling to stay relevant without Big E?" Wow, this when I first read this question, I kind of made my heart hurt, Nick, because I love the New Day, love Big E, Kofi, Xavier, but do they work with just two of them?
I think the core of the New Day was always that they complemented each other so well. All three pieces. They all brought something to the table. Is it one of the stories? And I like, look, I love Big E. I'm a huge fan. Love Xavier Woods. Love Kofi Kingston. But is the New Day one of those? What's the old saying? Or is the sum greater than than the total of the parts or whatever the saying is? I know I butchered it, but I think when you take 1, 1, and 1, you get 4 versus 3.
Yeah, it's a larger part. Brain just stopped. Sorry.
The thing was that they've done such a good job over time, because in today's age, time and age, people like the attention spans are short. People burn out on things, boom, and they're ready to move on to the next. But for years now, they have been doing great about keeping themselves with new merch and and keeping themselves in front of mind. And even when they were split apart, think about that. Even when they were apart, when Big E was over on Raw and they were on SmackDown, they still felt like a team. Somehow, some way, they still felt like the New Day.
Yeah.
And when they came over and they put them back together, we thought, okay, now we're about to have that another good run.
I was so happy about that. I wanted that run badly.
Yeah. The problem is they started into this feud with Sheamus's group, and then Big E gets hurt, and since then everything's been a little lackluster. Like there hasn't been the shine on the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that I just think that it's kind of hard to explain, but I think that they've lost that special something, because the something special with them is the three of them.
Yes.
To me, here's the blunt truth that's hard to swallow. They're the Freebirds, in my opinion, literally.
Yes.
You like Michael Hayes, you like Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts, you like him, but you love the Freebirds, and I think that's exactly what we see with the New Day.
Yes, I agree 100%. And they've worked so well, so much merch, you've got stuff on your desk from them right now, don't you?
Yeah, I got boxes of Bootios on the desk. Yeah,
such fun. I've worn the unicorn horns. I bought me a lot. You thought I was a overweight Dexter. It was just so much fun when you get into it and they come out. I hope Big E gets better. I don't know his total prognosis. Have they revealed it yet?
No, I mean, they haven't. Like, I don't think he has an exact timetable when he'll be back. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, he may never be back." Some people are like, "Oh, he'll be back sooner than later." Blah blah blah. I hope he's back in some form or fashion. That's true, because that team needs him. I mean, I hate to be that way, but they need him. And here's the crazy thing. Like, my opinion is like the Usos. The Usos will forever be a tag team in my brain. I don't think there's a split that can happen that makes me love one more than the other. Like, as far in the singles, and I could be totally wrong on that, but that's just where I'm at with them. And in my brain, I think the New Day works that way as well.
Well, I can't tell the Usos apart still. I'll be honest with you. But the New Day was bigger. It was positivity. It was the power of positivity. It was such an amazing thing in wrestling to get to witness.
Yeah. So the answer to your question is, I do think they're struggling to stay relevant. Like, I think they need something. Like, what doesn't make sense to me, and I know here's the problem. How many times have we seen New Day versus the Usos, right?
Oh, yeah.
So to put them back in the title picture, which is kind of something they probably need, because I don't know who else is there to help kind of catapult them back up again.
Riddle as their interim partner.
Well, they did Drew. Remember, they did Drew McIntyre came in and was an honorary New Day member, and they did that thing, and it was like,
I'm sorry. Drew McIntyre has done so much good work for the WWE, but he's another one of those guys that is just boring. Okay? It's boring. I think they need somebody with personality.
The problem is, I think Riddle is about to catapult because of Randy being gone for a while.
Yeah.
He's about to catapult into a single because he's challenged Roman. Like, you know, so is that something he's, you know, here's the other argument. Go back to our first question. Could Riddle be the guy that he's going to be the guy who wins Money in the Bank?
Could be, yeah, very definitely.
Yeah.
They are starved for baby faces right now.
So could very well be, but you know, but yes, to answer, I'm sorry, Bennett, go back to answer your question. Absolutely. I do think they're struggling a little bit. I think they'll be okay long term, but right now it is a bit of struggle. Now, and part of it, by the way, isn't their fault. I think it's the stuff they've got them in, the angles they have them in. That ain't helping either. You know, so all the above. But hey, man, we appreciate you coming out. We're gonna wrap up here, but make sure again you're heading over to YouTube. You know, youtube.com/C/Tap Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe, turn your notifications on, all that good stuff. Make sure you even got the opportunity to become a member now. Like I said, it was kind of like the old Patreon thing, but now you can join on there, and you can get all the stuff early and often, and the little post-its, the extra stuff. Also, if you're an audio, we haven't forgot you guys that are podcast listeners, the audio format, whether it be on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you know, Amazon Music, anywhere and everywhere there's a podcast platform. Make sure you're subscribing. Give us a 5-star rating review if you're so inclined. We would appreciate that. If you think we've earned it, we appreciate it.
Amazon Music is my favorite place, though.
Yeah, well, I mean that's because you can holler on Alexa. You can tell Alexa to play it, and she'll start playing it for you. I mean,
man,
which is cool in itself. So, eventful week. Obviously, pay-per-views and titles stripped, and injuries and this, that, and lots of stuff going on. Crazy week, man. But like. We're going to try to keep you all wrapped up, and that's best. That's everything I have for this week so far. I always say so far because you never know what's going to drop.
Oh God! On
Dynamite, I might do another little bit of one-off. I did one last week where.
Oh, you did one last week? Yes, I saw that. I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm it's good to see you doing those because I always do enjoy those.
Yeah, it's look, so I get it because it's so far away from Dynamite. Sometimes I'm like, just cut something really quick, kind of cover what I think stood out on Dynamite. And by the way, you only find that on. It's on the YouTube, stuff as well. So we greatly appreciate that. Well, you got anything else before we get out of here, brother?
That's all I got, man.
Oh, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.